2024 update for Dungeons & Dragons is out, but we can't find the Wild Magic Surge table for the updated Wild Magic Sorcerer anywhere. So we recreated it for you all to see. So prepare to absorb the knowledge Quill will dispense with his mighty jaws.
Caution. The AJ and Quill show contains D&D content and is intended for a D&D audience. And, besides that, they're really weird.
So what is a Wild Magic Surge? Wild Magic Sorcerers have an uncontrolled chaos that gives them power. No more than once per turn, they can roll a d20 immediately after casting a sorcerer spell with a spell slot. That means no ritual spells. If you roll a 20 on that, you then can roll on the Wild Magic Surge table. This is very powerful. You'll see that the other subclasses get an additional spell list, while Wild Magic Sorcerers do not. That's because the Surge table is their additional spell list. You want to be rolling on this as much as possible. But let's go over the surges. You roll a D100 and then see what effect happens on the Wild Magic Surge table. Roll a 1 to a 4. Roll on this table at the start of your turn for the next minute, ignoring this result on subsequent rolls. 5 to 8. A creature that is friendly towards you appears in a random unoccupied space within 60 feet of you. A creature is under the DM's control and disappears after 1 minute, but you roll a d4 to see what creature appears. 1. A Modron Duodrone. 2. A Flumph. 3. Modron Monodrone. And 4. A Unicorn. Delicious. 9 to 12. For the next minute, you regain 5 hit points at the start of each of your turns. While this probably doesn't work beyond the grave, if you go down in a combat, then you can come up at the next start of your turn with those 5 hit points. 13 to 16. Creatures have disadvantage on saving throws against the next spell you cast in the next minute that involves a saving throw. So if this surge happens on your action, you can use the Quicken spell metamagic to cast a spell with your bonus action that requires a saving throw. Genius. 17 to 20. You are subject to an effect that lasts for 1 minute unless its description says otherwise. You roll a d8 to determine the effect. 1. You are surrounded by faint, ethereal music only you and creatures within 5 feet of you can hear. 2. Your size increases by 1 size category. 3. You grow a long beard made of feathers, and it remains until you sneeze, achoo! At which point the feathers explode from your pitiful human face. 4.
You must shout when you speak.
5. Illusory butterflies surround you. 6. An eye appears on your forehead, granting you advantage on wisdom perception checks. 7. Pink bubbles float out of your mouth whenever you speak. 8. Your skin turns a vibrant shade of blue for 24 hours, like a smurf. Or until the effect is ended by a remove curse spell. Roll 21 to 24. For the next minute, all your spells with a casting time of an action have a casting time of a bonus action. 25 to 28. You are transported to the astral plane until the end of your next turn. You then return to the space previously occupied or the nearest unoccupied space, if that space is occupied. 29 to 32. The next time you cast a spell that deals damage for the next minute, you don't roll that spell's damage. Instead, you simply take the highest number possible. 33 to 36. You now have resistance to all damage for the next minute. 37 to 40. You turn into a potted plant until the start of your next turn. While you're a plant, you have the incapacitated condition and vulnerability to all damage. Even psychic? Okay, psychic. If you drop to 0 hit points, your pot breaks and your form reverts. Presumably, if you're at 0 hit points when you're a pot, you're also at 0 hit points if your form reverts. 41 to 44. For the next minute, you can teleport up to 20 feet as a bonus action on each of your turns. Note, this isn't a spell. You can just use a bonus action to do this. 45 to 48. You and up to 3 creatures you choose within 30 feet of you have the invisibility condition for 1 minute. This invisibility ends on a creature if it makes an attack roll, deals damage, or casts a spell. 49 to 52. A spectral shield hovers near you for the next minute, granting you a +2 bonus to your armor class and immunity to magic missile. 53 to 56. You can take 1 extra action on this turn. Essentially, it's the fighter's action surge, but you get it. Very powerful. 57 to 60. You cast a random spell. If that spell normally requires concentration, it doesn't require it for this casting. The spell lasts for its full duration, and you roll a 1d10 to determine which spell. 1. Confusion. 2. Fireball. It doesn't say you cast it on yourself, but it doesn't say you can't cast it on yourself. 3. Fog cloud. 4. Fly.
I believe I can fly.
6. Grease. 7. Levitate. Cast on yourself. 7. Magic missile. Cast as a 5th level spell. 8. Mirror image. 9. Polymorph. Cast on yourself. If you fail the saving throw, however, you just turn into a goat. But that's game stats. You probably would just end up turning into a sheep. And 10. See invisibility. Because pitiful humans need that to be able to see invisible creatures. 61 to 64. For the next minute, any flammable, non-magical object you touch that isn't being worn or carried by another creature bursts into flame and takes 1d4 damage and is burning. Because pitiful humans are susceptible to flames, unlike the superior dragon. 65 to 68. If you die within the next hour, you immediately revive, as if by the reincarnate spell. 69 to 72. You have the frightened condition until the start of your next turn. The DM determines the source of your fear. 73 to 76. You teleport up to 60 feet to an unoccupied space that you can see. 77 to 80. A random creature within 60 feet of you has the poisoned condition for the next 1d4 hours. Note, there is no roll, they simply have the poison condition. 81 to 84. You radiate bright light in a 30-foot radius for the next minute. Any creature that ends its turn within 5 feet of you has the blinded condition until the end of its next turn. Note, it doesn't say you choose any creature, so this has friendly fire. 85 to 88. Up to 3 creatures of your choice that you can see within 30 feet of you take 1d10 necrotic damage. You then regain hit points equal to the total sum of all the necrotic damage dealt. The distance is 30 feet. This is a pretty strong indicator that you should stick pretty close to the front lines of combat. 89 to 92. Up to 3 creatures of your choice that you can see within 30 feet of you take lightning damage. So you're going to want to stay at least within 30 feet of an enemy. 93 to 96. You and all creatures within 30 feet of you, so that's friendly fire as well, have vulnerability to piercing damage for the next minute. Keep that in mind if you're carrying weapons that deal piercing. or if you have a spell that deals piercing damage. 97 to 00, or 100 if you don't know that term. You roll a 1d6 to determine the effect. On a 1, regain 2d10 hit points. 2. One ally of your choice within 300 feet regains 2d10 hit points. 3. You regain your lowest expended spell slot. 4. One ally of your choice within 300 feet regains its lowest level expended spell slot. 5. You regain all sorcery points. This one is money. 6. All the effects of row 17 to 20 happen simultaneously. That's that one that had the faint music, your size category, or the beard with feathers. And that's it. Enjoy playing your wild magic sorcerer. Goodbye.